Last time I sat Rudy down in front of Claude for the first time, we worked through a real problem he had at work, talked through the plans, the models, and how to actually prompt. What I didn't expect was for him to come back 3 days later, having already used it to solve a completely different problem. An application crash at work, F5 logs, 2 days of back and forth with a vendor. Claude found the smoking gun in one session. And then, the same week we started this series, his law firm actually rolled out Claude firm wide. So today we're picking up where we left off. We're going through his full debrief, setting up his custom instructions from scratch, and then walking through Claude projects for the first time. If you've been putting off Claude and setting it up the right way, this is the episode to watch. Let's get into it. All right, so welcome back. This is now 3 days later since our last episode, and where we talked about your challenge with inheritance and setting up permissions on the file shares that you're working on, a massive number of file shares. The goal was for you to kind of take back what we talked about, and have you been able to do anything since then?
Yeah, I set up a test share or
Right.
a subset of the documents or folders that I'm looking to uh, implement this to,
Okay.
and against it, and just made a couple of tweaks with regards to provide an indication or estimation of completion. So let me share my screen and I'll give you just a glimpse of what it gave me. If you can see this, obviously I've kind
There
of,
it is. Yeah.
but it did run through, um, the subset of folders that I just mentioned, and
Yep.
it gave me a completion time and a log. What I'd probably want to add to this
Mm-hmm.
is to because this is going to go to a larger volume and
Yeah.
might take several days to complete,
Right.
to send an email, a notification, kind of letting us know that okay, well, it's done, and you can go to the log, or you can you know uh, go ahead and test, make sure
Mm-hmm.
everything is running correctly. So
Right.
otherwise, I'm satisfied with this,
Good.
and it looks like it completed the task that I asked it to do. So
Good.
cool.
Now, have you gone also and have it actually validate itself?
Validate itself in what way?
So a lot of times, the first output isn't always the best output.
Yeah,
So you just kind of go and say, hey, just double check this, look for any errors or opportunities for optimization.
yeah. Actually, I
Good,
did.
good,
That's also included in the script for it to do that.
good.
Fortunately, I can't. You know.
Yeah, no. I'm not asking for that. I'm not asking. So that's good. No, that's positive. And what are your thoughts so far in terms of feedback and how you approach this problem that you're facing?
Uh, yeah. I mean, in terms of efficiency, of getting this completed, with regards to obviously being tasked for this particular uh, thing and getting it done. Yeah, I mean, I think it's helped me tremendously with regards to I could move on to my next set of tasks. So without having to worry about this. So but this was a tremendous help. So
Good. So here's the other question: did you use it for anything other than this problem that you're working with?
I did have some things that I was asking it for. For example, let me pull up what it's for.
And be careful what you share. I mean, I could always cut it out.
Let's see. I was right. So, I was asked for to create a new F5 pool, or better yet, there was a. Oh, here's a better one. There was request from one of our application owners.
Okay.
They were having an issue with their application,
Okay.
and they couldn't determine where the problem was coming from. What specifically what was happening is that the from the client side, the application would crash, so to
Mhm.
speak, or the window would close without giving any sort of prompt,
Right.
and then just kind of like trying to tease out what exactly this happened, what exactly happened to cause this, because it wasn't happening before. Oh well, we recently did an upgrade. Oh, okay. Um, and we started seeing this problem, but we can't determine where the problem is coming from. Can you look from the F5
Mhm.
to try to determine what's happening? I'm like, well, sure. I mean, I could do that. But sometimes going to the F5 and parsing through the logs is pretty daunting, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I took this problem, and I was kind of going through AI and trying to see if it can help me figure out what was going on with the issue, giving me some responses to check for specific things like curling against the VIP, uh, identifying any particular logs which it pointed out. And once it pointed that out, then I started kind of like getting some breadcrumbs to try to figure out what exactly was going on.
Right.
Long story short, once it was able to identify where to look, I was able to actually get more information, which I was able to reach out to the application owner and said, "Hey, you know what? I think this is definitely pointing to the server end. I can see that it's pointing to the server end. All Everything is pointing towards that, especially from the errors. And then just kind of following those breadcrumbs, I was able to take the error messages I was finding, and then it said, okay, you know what? Look in this folder path for this log, and then that should give you the smoking gun as to what is causing the problem. And then that was it. As soon as I found that log, and then I saw all the particulars of where the terminal connections were closing, I was then able to send it to the application owner and identify, okay, well, this is it. Can you send this to support and figure out what's going on? Sure enough, they take the logs, they send it to the I guess the vendor for the application, and they were able to identify that apparently our desktop team was using SCCM to run a query or a job or something like that was affecting the application.
Mm.
That was it. Problem solved.
So without these tools that you have at your fingertips, do you think you would have been able to identify that? So let me rephrase that.
Good.
How long did it take you to identify that problem?
Maybe I want to say end to end, probably I want to say 2 days, because
Okay.
it started on a Friday,
Right.
let's and then just kind of like trying going back and forth with
Right.
him, and then going into the weekend, I wasn't really
Yeah.
doing
Yeah. Yeah.
anything, and then coming back not on Monday but on Tuesday, saying just to because in addition to all that, right?
Right.
What I also had to do is, and then getting this information from my query with AI, it was like, well, do a packet trace.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, and then with the packet trace, the thing is that I couldn't leave the packet trace just kind of open ended.
Right. Right. Right.
I had
Right.
to make sure that he understood that. I'm like, because when I asked him, can you recreate this? I don't know. I can't recreate it. Okay.
Yeah, I remember this. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and then I'm getting, well, so and so and so and so are seeing the problem, and I'm like, okay,
yeah.
it's not really helpful.
So let me dig deeper into the actual use of Claude. When
Yeah.
you got Claude involved, do you feel like it actually helped you
Yes.
to process that faster? What surprised you and what frustrated you?
Um. Well, the frustration more came from the end user perspective.
Yeah, I get that.
That that was, where most of the, because you're trying to get information so that you can solve the problem.
Right, right.
Um. You know, what surprised me was how quickly I was able to, you know, throw it into to Claude. I mean, I could literally just throw in just a bunch of information, and
Mhm.
right away it's just, oh, it's seeing this, and here's a smoking gun, and
Yeah,
so the stuff, and it's just really quick. Would able to give me a response or a breadcrumb that I could use and then layer it, right, in a form of a question, and then just kind of like use that to solve the problem. So in end to end total, I'd say, maybe 2 days. Had I had I been trying to figure this out on my own without AI, it would have probably taken me longer, a
yeah,
week,
yeah,
back and forth,
yeah.
longer back and forth conversations,
Yep.
as opposed to teasing out information from Claude, where it could just spit out, a response or a possible, answer to my question, or a breadcrumb that I could use to then, okay, well, let me test this out. Let me this Does this make sense? And then I could layer it, in a different form of a question,
Yeah.
so that I can get the answer or the response I'm looking for.
So let me ask this question. Did you tell Claude the application that you were working with that was having the problem?
Uh,
Or
yes, because I
okay,
had I had to identify
good,
specifically. I'm like, okay,
good,
well, you know what? I am seeing this particular issue,
perfect,
but
perfect.
from the perspective of the F5,
Right,
can you help me
right,
identify what is
perfect.
happening on the client? And then it's
Beautiful,
like, yes, this is how you
beautiful,
do it. Blah 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 blah.
beautiful, beautiful. And think about how you actually processed that problem, right? You didn't change the way you troubleshoot. You didn't, right? Because you've been doing this for decades,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
You just had somebody that's a little bit smarter and faster, right? To be able to
Exactly.
pinpoint to what you want to do. And most of us that have been in this space for so long
Yeah.
are seeing the value of that because we do this or we've been doing this for decades.
Mhm.
Not to say that we're slower because we're older. No, it's just sometimes to your point, we don't get the information that we need from the customer or the client that's having an issue.
Right.
It's like pulling teeth. It's pulling teeth. It's pulling teeth. So now with a tool like this, maybe Claude, Gemini, whatever, right? We know how to ask the question, right? So
Yeah.
when you put the question in there, it's like, oh, yeah, here you go. This is probably what you're facing. I just had the same challenge with a Docker issue because I'm setting up this connector for AD for anecdotes.ai,
Mhm.
right? And first of all, do Docker and stuff like that, right? I've ran it on Windows subsystem Linux, and I knew what the issue was, but the vendor couldn't even help me articulate it. So I just launched up Claude Code. I'm like, yo, this is my problem, and
Right.
that's the beauty of this. And I think this is where a lot of folks, at least in our age range, who are like hesitant about AI, like I've been doing this for so long, I can do it. I think they're missing out on the fact that yeah, you're right, you can do this, but
Mhm.
this is going to amplify the time to resolution because you now don't have to wait on somebody to give you information. You can just position that same challenge to the LLM and say, this is what the customer's seeing. I don't have much information yet. What could be some potential challenges to this? And then when the customer comes back with more detail, be like, oh yeah, here's the issue.
Yeah. It's I see it as if having a, uh solutions architect, engineer, developer in the room with you, So you're cutting out the middleman
Yep.
of the help desk trying to figure out, did you try this? Did you try that? It goes right into detail. Is you, hey, okay, well, this, that, and did you try this? By the way, here's a list of things you should look at, and it gives you different options,
Mm-hmm.
and then it summarizes it into a best option
Mm-hmm.
of what you can use to solve your issue, which was incredibly helpful.
Good. Did you run into any limits when you were working with the free plan?
So when I didn't use the free plan, the
Oh,
reason why is because our firm adopted.
oh, perfect. Even
So
better.
I was using Sonnet. Is it
Yeah.
Sonnet?
Yeah. It's on it. It's on it.
Right away without
Yeah.
any limitation.
Perfect.
So I was just going
Perfect.
boom. It
Perfect.
all this kind of coalesced at the right time
Right. 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 Right.
because following our conversation, literally firm wide email went out. Hey, by the way, we're allowing Claude. I'm like, oh, look at this, great. I don't have to go anywhere else.
Right.
Right there.
Right.
That day, I went to Claude. I was already went in, and the firm's name was already listed. I was like,
Perfect.
this is great.
Perfect. And I'll make sure I mask it out when I publish the video. But I did see the domain name in there of the firm and things like that. So that was the first thing I was going to say to you. I was like, by the way, you don't want to put that stuff in.
I tried to kind of do the whole.
Yeah, no. But I meant like in the free version of Claude, you don't want to put your company data, organization data. But if you're using the corporate one, then you're fine, right? Because they isolate that and segment that out. So that's good. No, I'm glad. Did you try to leverage it for any emails yet?
I haven't.
That's fine. Yeah.
I wanted to do that, but here's what I wanted. Okay, so this was something else I wanted to do,
Yeah.
but because the timing was it just didn't work out because I needed to get the data as soon as
Right.
possible.
Yeah.
But so this is probably a larger task for what I was trying to do.
Yep.
So we have a new office.
Yep.
That we're moving to. I was kind of tasked to gather information or notes of the MDF closet
Right.
and summarize that into rack elevation diagram, right?
Right.
So based on the notes I had, I wish I had more time. I wanted to use that and ask Claude, say, hey, can you, based on the information I give you, and I'd probably have to feed it more detail,
Right.
but based on the information I give you, can you use the information to present either a Visio diagram or a spreadsheet or Excel spreadsheet version of a rack elevation with all the detail I've presented? So that's what I was looking for.
Okay.
I ended up doing it by hand.
Right.
I needed to have it done, but that was something I wanted to task it to do. So I may play with that in the coming weeks.
Okay. No, and that's good. I mean, I think ultimately you're on the right path to embracing this tool set some more, seeing the value that it brings. Right. I don't want to say power. A lot of people are like, oh, it's very powerful and things like that. I think again, it's an extension of you already. And the goal of this series is make it even more aligned and integrated with your style and your way of thinking. Right. So what I want to go through today, since you now have access to Claude Code for your organization, right? Let's tweak that config a little bit more for you before we go into Claude Code. Yeah. So into UI. So what I'm going to do is I did spin up my Mac, right? So I'm gonna send you just a core set of instructions that I showed you previously. Okay. I stripped out all my stuff, and I'll tell you why in a second. But this is primarily focused on writing style.
Okay.
All right. When you're writing emails, when you're writing documentation, I don't want you to paste this in yet.
Okay.
Okay. What I want you to do is I want you to structure your instructions into 4 things.
Mhm.
All right. And including this, right? First, your role and technical environment.
Okay.
You don't have to get too detailed, right? Talk about what you manage, what stack, and what OS. Because remember, in the last episode, we talked about this is your consultant now. So when you launch up the UI,
yeah,
it's always going to read these instruction sets before it does anything.
okay.
All right. So now you have your do you remember that show with Kristen Bell and oh, I forgot the dude's name. The dude from Hotel Rwanda. Oh, why did I forget his name? Oh my gosh. He was in Black Panther. Anyway, they were management consultant pods.
Okay.
Right. So think of this kind of your management consultant pod, and you're going to build instruction sets on how they actually work with you. So the first step is here's my role in this environment. Here's the technical aspects of it, right? So what I manage, what stack, what OS, as much as you could put in there, right? You don't want to get too detailed, but just F5s, virtualization, OS version, and things like that. That's the first thing you're going to put in there. The second one is your preferred output format, and a lot of it may be in the writing style that I put in. I don't think it is, but do you want bullet points? Do you want code blocks? Do you want plain prose? Like, how do you like to consume that output?
Yep.
What I sent to you in the instruction sets, words and patterns you want Claude to avoid. So take a look at what I sent, right? Maybe strip out some things because those are the words that you use in your everyday language. I don't know. And then how direct you want it to be with you. No hedging, no disclaimers, just the answers. Okay. So think through those 4 things and write it down, right? Put in Notepad, VS Code, whatever you use to just kind of jot things down. Copy and paste the instruction sets that I sent to you, right? Should use clear and simple language, should be Spartan and informative, right? That may not align with you, right? And then after you put it in Notepad, maybe get some writing samples that you've already done, some emails, some documentation that you've used already. Okay. Copy and add those to the prompt, right? Copy and paste everything you've done in your Notepad, including what I sent you, and say, using the information I provided, help me build instruction sets for my profile to align with my style and tone. And then it will write write an instruction set for you. Okay, because it's gonna, and it may ask you questions just to be clear, and then see how that works for you. And you're going to have to tweak it as you go along because you're going to see, oh, maybe this is not really the way I want to present myself when I'm doing things. And it's going to surface more when you try to use it for writing email responses, especially to senior leadership or those within the business or other practice departments, right, in the law firm, right? So try that out as your next exercise for this, right? I want you to own this, right? This is yours. I just provided you a sample so you can start leveraging it, but you really should start training Claude on how you work. And as you go over time, you'll have to redo this because things may change and it may not align with how you're working. You'll see that your own communication style will change because now you don't have to think about certain things, right? You're just letting Claude think about it, and you're working at a higher plane. You'd be like, oh, let me tell Claude to do it this way because now I don't have to think about it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it totally makes sense. How easy would it be to incorporate, a voice aspect of Claude? In other words, just you're dictating.
Oh, I never tested that out, to be honest with you, but it's just a chat,
Right.
except with voice. So if you're using the UI, especially on your mobile phone, it's just chat.
Right. I figure, based on dictation, I mean, you can
Like if you
There's pattern, how you
yeah. No, that's actually a good test. That's a good test. Um, one way I would do it is when you load up the voice aspect of Claude, you tell it, I'm trying to define my style and tone within Claude to build an instruction set. Please help me walk through this using my voice or
yeah.
dictation to help build that instruction set. And that's actually a very, very good use case that I haven't even thought about testing out, but it's a good use case. I've always been used to just giving it samples of my writings and emails and things like that. But yeah, give it a shot. It's perfect.
I figure it based on just for ease of information. You may be
Right,
thinking something and then just kind of like, hey, do this, do that.
right,
uh what are your thoughts? Or you may pose a question, might be easier than go ahead and type it in,
right,
whatever it is.
right.
But I may do that. I may also just kind of incorporate some voice aspect to it.
Yeah, no, it's a good idea. Um, so what I want to get in today is now that you're used to the chats and working through that, I want to get into my favorite topic of Claude and its projects. Excuse me. Just let me open this up in a different tab. And let me share this tab. Share. Claude. Share. And I've had to rework some things here because I had my company name in some of these things. Just rather not do that. So, where is my notes here? Okay. Like my picture. I updated my picture too.
Where's the picture?
Oh, did it stop sharing? Oh no. Uh,
Let's see
where
here.
is it? Do you see it? Yeah, there it is.
Ah, that's pretty good, man. I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I use Grok, so just to show. Where's the original? So this is the original one. We're sidebar for a little bit. This is the original one I created just to kind of be goofy on my ITXP page, and then it created this. It's like that is not me whatsoever.
Completely
So it did it again, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's not me. So then I did
That's as
this,
close. That's pretty on point.
yeah, and then I had another one where I had another picture of me. Oh, if I do this, so I had this picture where this one I was trying out new jackets, so I used this instead, and that's where it came up with this.
Okay.
Yeah. So it is again, I use Claude to help me with the prompt, and I'm using Grok more and more because it's actually pretty slick. Between this and Nano Banana,
Yeah.
I can accomplish 98% of what I want to accomplish between LinkedIn stuff and corporate hardcore. So it's actually really, really good. All right. So projects. Here's my thing. I think Claude may have been the first one to do projects really well. I think I was introduced to projects in Claude, and then ChatGPT came along with projects. But by then I was already in the Claude on the Claude bandwagon.
Mhm.
And so projects are essentially persistent context that Claude carries into every conversation inside of it. All right. So you see my chats here, right? These are chats within different projects, right? Um, and it differs from a regular chat in terms of memory, instructions, and uploaded knowledge. So we talked about your instruction set. Okay. Now I can actually add additional instructions, right, into into the project, right? So I have my corporate hardcore project. I have chats in here, but you'll see I also have additional project instructions that further defines this. So now I can have different instruction sets for different things. So for corporate hardcore, right? I have here's my character, here's the consistency. I'm doing video content. I'm doing mixed content. I'm doing articles, right? For tech lead shift. That's based off of the things that I see that I use for corporate hardcore. Right. Here's my video production workflow. So I built this over time as I started building out the brand. But then I realized I needed stuff for work. Right. So I do things. So I have a thing called work things. And then I have different instruction sets for work things, right? Agenda builder, strategic advisor playbook, because I'm a manager, right? Here's an agenda template. So things that I want to differentiate between my chats, I put into projects. And that's going to help you further align some of your things. Because look, just like me, you're spread out in different areas. You may want to keep your virtualization world separate from your F5 world. I don't know, just giving you examples, right? In terms of things. But I've built up a whole bunch of, like, I even created an SAT prep for my daughters. Yeah. Right. And I fed it. It should be here, but I fed it files. Oh no, that's in ChatGPT. I moved it because they use ChatGPT. They don't use Claude. But in ChatGPT, let me see if I can get there real quick, just to show you, right? More SAT Pro. So in ChatGPT, right, it's the same thing, but I actually added the files from. So if I go project settings, I have instruction sets here, right? Right, the tone and role, act as a calm, encouraging SAT coach, blah 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 blah. Right, and then I actually added files in here. I don't know where they are now, but I added sources. I added the practice tests from the SAT official page. Okay, so you can actually train the project to leverage the resources. So let's go back to Claude. For work things, you want to add additional files for, let's say, so this is, I was doing performance reviews, right? So I added performance review stuff just to feed off of it. You have an F5 run book. You could put it in here because it will always reference the run book. It won't go out into the interwebs to pull that information. It now knows your environment, right? Your VMware environment, the way you do different run books. You can store it now in here, and it will always reference that first because it knows it's learning your environment. So that's what projects are beneficial for, to do that. So when you start thinking about how you're going to start leveraging Claude more and more, think about the use of projects, right?
That's a great segue, because I'm actually just about to start a project with F5, because we're
even better.
An update of all our existing environment. So I'm going to create a project within a subset of project for F5 just for this, and all the information I get from the team or the deployment team, I'm going to add to it so that I can.
Yeah. So let's walk through that now, right? Since you already have the corporate access to Claude, let's walk through that. Let's set up a project. It doesn't have to be specifically for the work that you're doing. You're going to be doing for this project, but let's just create a base one for you, just so you get the hang of it, and let's talk through it and walk through it, so that way you get a nice feel for it. So when you're ready to do the one for this other project, then you can, you have that much more power to just really start going into it. Now, the beauty about this is that information stays contained within that project, right? But from your main chat, you can also reference that project, right? So within the project, you can't reference any other project.
Yeah.
But from your main chat, you can reference all the other all the projects that you have. So if you're wanting to combine a couple of different things from what you're doing, then that's a good use case for you. All right, so go ahead and create a new project. What are you working on? Just F5, whatever.
6.
All right, what are you trying to achieve? So here's what we talk about, right? In terms of context, A senior infrastructure architect, engineer, right? You understand enterprise Windows environments.
Oh, that's where I okay. So
Yeah, it's just a high level, right? Just again to kind of think about it again. The management consultant thing. I'm going to remember that show. Why can't I remember that show? Don Cheadle. Don Cheadle.
ah,
House of Lies. That was a show I was referencing. House of Lies, everyone. House of Lies for 1,000. Alex.
good show.
This was the first time I saw Don Cheadle's ass. The first episode, he's lying on his bed. God damn it, like, man ass. And honestly, that's how I think of these projects, right? They're my little pods in terms of that management consultant mindset. I'm building a team for me to help me with specific tasks. So everything I do for corporate hardcore sits in a corporate hardcore pod. Everything within the ITXP sits within the ITXP, and so on and so forth. I have my travel advisory business as well. It sits in a different one, and so on and so forth. And again, they can't reference each other, but when I go outside of the project space and I sit in the main chat, I can actually reference or have Claude look through everything and pull what I need based on that. All right. And then obviously your visibility is going to be private. You don't want to share anything with the organization, and we'll block that out. We'll mask that organization name before the episode airs. Okay. Now, see on the right hand side is where your instruction sets it. You're not going to fill out anything now, right? Because you're going to work on that. You remember your first exercise after this is to work on building the instructions for your user profile. So under settings, profile, there's an instruction set there. You're going to do that one first. Identify your writing style, your tone, and things like that. Once you get the hang of that, then you're going to go into here and build the instruction sets for this effort that you're working on. You're going to populate some files in here, and then you're gonna work on and then it's just like any other chat, right? You can use Sonnet, you can use Haiku, you can use Opus, right? And what I say is, and what how I do it, right? So for my corporate hardcore, when I first started corporate hardcore with Claude, especially, I would have everything in one chat. It's like, oh, I'm going to build this episode. Oh, but I got to do the website too. Oh, but I want to start doing blogs for corporate, and it was all in one chat. It was getting messy.
Yeah.
Right. So I broke it out into different chats. Right. So I have a corporate hardcore main. That's where I ideate on the episodes. I have corporate hardcore. I have website. That's where I ideate on the website, how I want to change it, how I want to build it. Right. And then I have corporate hardcore blogs. Here are the blogs I want to post. Right. Help me ideate on the blogs. Here's what I want to write. Make it sound better, and things like make it more satirical, and things like that. So that's how you can organize it. So when you're working through this project, think of it. You can, again, just thinking, just off the cuff here, you can create different chats for different work streams, right? And those work streams can see each other, right? It's just they can't be seen from other projects.
Yeah.
Right. So that's one way of doing it. And again, as you develop your skill set in Claude, you'll see what works best for you. I'm just giving you examples of how you can go through this. For my management stuff because I manage a team, a large team. I have chats for each team member.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So because I put in the performance review there, and I ask for ideas on how to approach certain topics. There's an employee that's underperforming, so how can I coach them and without sounding like an asshole, right? Because again, when somebody's underperforming, you're running into a slippery slope. You want to make sure you follow HR guidelines, right? So instead of me saying, "Hey, dude, shape up," right? I have to kind of use the HR terms and ensure that I follow those processes so that I don't get in trouble, right? And help with the coaching. So So that's how I use projects to help me align some of that work across my different work streams, right? Not just in my corporate life, but also in my personal life outside of work. Any questions so far around projects?
Uh, no, I would just say, so just with regards to the instructions, I
Yeah.
understand. So this is just, I'm using the instruction subset to tailor the instruction set in instructions. So is that correct?
To add additional, yes, to add additional instructions just for this project.
Just for this project. Okay. And then just for additional information, I can just dump the information, I guess, the correspondence that I have for this project in files. That way, it creates a broader understanding of what it can use to help me with this project.
Yes, yes, exactly, exactly. Because it's not going to have to go out to the interwebs or to its general knowledge to pull that in. It already has it in the files, right? And it's centered around your environment instead of generalizing.
This can definitely help. Okay.
Yes, yes, yes. Right. So custom instructions, right, for the project are going to be the baseline config that applies to every chat within this project,
Sure.
right? So it's always going to know the machines that you're working with, or it's going to know the environment that you're working with, depending on what files you put in there. It's never going to have to, again, go out and generalize. It's going to say, boom, all right, Rudy, this is what you're working on. I got you. Let me provide that information.
Okay. Cool.
Right. So just keep that in mind. And as your environment changes, you want to make sure that you update the files for that environment.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Any other questions around?
No, this is a good starting point.
Yeah. Good. Good. And honestly, that's what I really wanted to focus on today, right? Was just, and look, we're already 45 minutes in, but
Already the wheels are turning because I know exactly what I need to dump in. I mean, at least the pertinent information, right?
it,
Are my existing environment, how it looks today, what exactly is in production in relation to what will be replaced. Any conversations I have with the PM working on this, our correspondence, the new equipment that's going to be coming in to replace it, physical and virtual, and also the details within of what we're trying to accomplish with this new iteration. I can already see how.
good. And that was my question, right? That was going to be my next question to you. So what feels different now compared to where you were at the end of episode 1?
I mean, I could already see, vastly how quickly I'll be able to get, more efficiency out of this, as opposed to doing it how I was doing it in the past, kind of like, pen to paper type of thing.
Yep.
This gives me a better, um, you know, uh, consolidated view of what
Mm-hmm.
I can do for each and every project or conversation, and it's easier to kind of gather those thoughts into one and get a quicker response out of it. So yeah, I mean, this is good.
And don't forget, you can also leverage it to provide updates to the project manager who's not very technical.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
Right. That's how I use it, right? Because you want to, especially when I'm working with HR or I'm working with internal audit, right? Or I'm working with project managers. I want to have something sanitized that's not overly technical and things like that. So in a language they understand, because they don't come back to me with questions. And that's the biggest thing I always tell Claude, right? Or ChatGPT or Gemini. Write this in a way that will minimize the questions back to me, right? Because that is 90% of our time. They always come back. I really don't understand this. Well, what do you mean by this? No. Frame it in a way that they'll understand it so it minimizes the questions back to me. That has been a lifesaver for me, especially when I go through these audits, because I go through a lot of audits, as you probably well know, right, as well, in a similar environment. That's the biggest saving grace for me in terms of time.
Yeah, you know what? And what I would also add is that I wish. I mean, I this is right now is perfect, but especially when you're going through the year and
Yes.
trying to manage all the projects and tasks that you've been working on, and then when you're being asked based on a quarterly basis,
Yep.
what have you accomplished? What
Yep.
have you? This in itself, in terms of what this will give me, is incredible because at the end of the year, when it
Mhm.
comes to, and I can go here.
Yeah.
This
Well,
is what I can do, and as a matter of fact, when I'm doing my self
yes.
assessment,
Yes.
bam, there it is. You did
Yes.
this, that, this, that. Generate this in a way that I can send this to
Perfect.
HR or my manager, and then I wipe my hand clean of it. That's I can see this is great.
Yep.
Great.
I talked to you about how I manage my team, right? I leverage Claude, right? Because look, I know what I want to say, right?
Yeah.
But now I have it in a way that's documented for HR in a format that they understand and they can provide evidence for. A lot of times I help, especially with my employee that's underperforming, right? I write emails and it tells me, okay, now that you wrote this email and we're going to make sure it's aligned with the HR policies and practices. Now save it in a different folder, right? So that way you have it and you can provide it as evidence. So it continues to do that. Now remember, when you're working with projects, right? Each project can't talk to each other, but the main chat, right, can reference it. So when you're ready to do that and you maybe get stuck, let me know. We'll kind of go back through that. The last question before we kind of close out this segment: what do you want to be able to do that you still can't do yet? Have you even thought of that? Have you even thought of that?
Yeah, I mean, I can already envision some larger projects that I would like to leverage for sure,
Right.
especially from a design perspective. you know um kind of like maybe there might be something visual that I just can't formulate,
Yep.
but maybe I can leverage Claude to help kind of like task that, in addition to other things like certifications and
Yes.
being myself educated and
Yes.
sharp with regards in relation to not just my job, but with what's out there in the job market. So
Yes. You hit the nail on the head because that's actually how I started the SAT prep chat.
right,
Because my wife's like, let's just pay for a tutor and blah, blah, blah. I was like, no, that's dumb. Like, honestly, because tutors are cookie cutter,
yeah,
right? They don't know my child. My child knows my child. When my child knows themselves, I should say. Let me create an environment where they're already comfortable using. They're already comfortable using ChatGPT. Now I can cater that instruction set for my youngest, who, she's lazy, right? She doesn't think like my oldest daughter, right? Because my oldest daughter is very organized and blah blah blah. My youngest one's kind of like free flowing and things like that. So I can cater the training to her to say, okay, break down the question even simpler to simplify it so she can understand and progress and adapt as she answers the questions better,
yeah,
right? As opposed to my oldest daughter, where I don't have to go that granular.
yeah,
And that's going to be the beauty as you kind of evolve and go through this. One of the things that I started smiling when you said this, um, architectural design patterns, right? It can do it for you, but it's going to give you kind of the wireframe diagram.
yeah.
And what I wound up doing was I used another product called Napkin AI to take that wireframe and to make it look into a pretty picture. so so you have a couple of different. Look, I only know about Napkin AI 2 years ago, and okay, you know me, I bought the subscription because it helps. I have Claude give me the wireframe diagram. I pop that into Napkin AI, and Napkin AI gives me different options. Oh, do you want to do it this way? Do you want to do this? And it helps. It just really, really helps. I wish I could show you, but I'm not on my work computer. Um, but it you'll see, like, as you continue progressing and your evolution through this, you're like, man, I wish it could do this.
Right.
Before you say it can't, let's come back and talk through it. Because as we continue to learn and explore through this, right? There's a new skill set. I think I messaged you last night around looking at my latest TikTok. Right, the video that I created in my latest TikTok was all done through Claude, which I didn't think could be done. But there's a new skill set using Remotion, right, and Node.js to actually build videos.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it's amazing what's out there and the skill sets. And in future episodes, we're going to talk about skill sets. Right. But I want you to focus on these projects before the next episode.
Oh, for sure.
Right. Start building out the projects that you think you're going to start using. Play around with them. Right.
Yeah.
And come back and let's see what you've done and let's see, how far you've progressed.
Oh, for sure.
All right.
My mind is swimming right now.
Yeah. So next episode, what we're going to do is we're going to go into more complex project prompts, right? Chats, right? So build out your project sets, and don't forget each chat within the project can use different models, right? Yeah. So I always tell you use Sonnet by default because it's for me it's the best thing because it's lower usage, right? And then we could talk about the efforts and things like that, but you can also have a chat just using Opus, right, for your more complex thing. And that's what we'll focus on the next episode. But play around with this weekend, right, and see how far you get. And if you can't get playing around with it this weekend, we'll play it by ear in terms of the next episode. But I want you to get some meat behind it. Excuse me. But yeah, man. No, look, I'm glad you're excited, and I'm excited for you. Because I think you're going to see a tremendous value out of this going forward. All right. Well, thanks for your time again, and I'll talk to you next time. Take care. And there you go. Another great episode with Rudy. A lot shorter this time, about 45 minutes, which was great because I think most of the time that initial startup is what takes the most time for people. But as you can see, as we progress through the different options within Claude and how there are different use cases. We talked about projects today and the power of projects. He's already working through his mind in terms of, oh, this is how I can do it. And this is what I want you all to go through. And continue using it, leveraging it day by day. The more you use it, the better you'll get at it. Right? He's gonna build some more projects. He's gonna define the instruction set for his user profile and then take that, right, and create custom instruction sets for each of those projects. He should be working in projects going forward. There should be no reason why he uses the main chat unless he's doing his end of year review, which we talked about in the episode, because now he can use the main chat to reference all those projects that actually build out his self-assessment. How great is that? You're saving time. You're saving time here. And look, it's not dumbing down. I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, I'm lazy. No, it's not. It's saving all that mundane task to someone else and allowing you to use higher level thinking and complex reasoning. That's what your brain's used for. We're just offsetting the mundane stuff. You're really not becoming lazy. You're just amplifying the work that you're doing because you already know what it is. And I've told you this time and time again, there's stuff in the back of your brain that this is going to bring out. And you saw my projects, right? If you were paying attention, there was a sci-fi book in there. So follow along with us. Follow along on Rudy's journey. We're still in the UI. We haven't even touched Claude Code yet. We're still in the UI. So thanks for watching. This is Chuck, and we'll catch you next time.